Welcome to the Central School of English Stage 5 video series. In this video, we will practice using the past perfect tense in English. In this video, we will learn how to make positive statements, negative statements, and questions using the past perfect tense. We will also learn the difference between the past perfect tense and the past simple tense. To make positive statements using the past perfect tense in English, we use the subject plus the past simple of the verb to have plus the past participle of a main verb. For example, to make positive sentences in the past perfect using the verb to eat, we can say, I had eaten, you had eaten, he had eaten, she had eaten, it had eaten, we had eaten, you had eaten, and they had eaten. To make negative statements using the past perfect tense in English, we use the subject plus the past simple negative of the verb to have plus the past participle of a main verb. To make negative sentences in the past perfect using the verb to eat, we can say, I hadn't eaten, you hadn't eaten, he hadn't eaten, she hadn't eaten, it hadn't eaten, we hadn't eaten, you hadn't eaten, and they hadn't eaten. To make questions using the past perfect tense in English, we use the past simple of the verb to have plus the subject plus the past participle of the main verb. To make questions in the past using the verb to eat, we can say, had I eaten? Had you eaten? Had he eaten? Had she eaten? Had it eaten? Had we eaten? Had you eaten? Had they eaten? We use the past perfect tense when we are thinking about time before and up to a specific point in the past. For example, we can say, Luigi had worked in Italy before he moved to Ireland. In this sentence, we use the past perfect tense because we are thinking about the time before and up to the point Luigi moved to Ireland. Before Luigi moved to Ireland, he had worked in Italy. From the time that Luigi moved to Ireland, this action stopped. In a second example, we can say, Mary had studied for 5 years before she finished university. In this sentence, we use the past perfects because we are thinking about the time before and up to the point Mary finished university. Before Mary finished university, she had studied for 5 years. From the time Mary finished university, she no longer studied. In a third example, we can say, before he bought his house, John had lived with his parents. In this sentence, we use the past perfect tense because we are thinking about the time before and up to the point that John bought his house. Before John bought his house, he had lived with his parents. From the point that John bought his house, he no longer lived with his parents. The past perfect tense in English is used to refer to a time that is earlier than now. It is used to make clear that one action happened before another action in the past. The past perfect tense makes it clear which action happened first in the past. For example, if we look at John's timetable for this morning, John took a shower at 7:30 a.m. Next, John ate breakfast at 8 a.m. After that, John left his house at 8:30 a.m. If we look at John's timetable, we can say that John had taken a shower before he ate breakfast this morning. In this sentence, we use the past perfect tense, John had taken a shower, to indicate that John had finished his shower before he ate breakfast this morning. By using the past perfect tense, we communicate that one action, taking a shower, happened first. The action of taking a shower happened before the second action, eating breakfast. Let's look at another example of how we use the past perfect tense to make it clear that one action happened before another action in the past. Here is Laura's timetable for last weekend. First, Laura cleaned her flat. Then she met her friends in the city. Later, she went shopping in the supermarket. Using the past perfect tense to speak about what actions happened before another action, in the past, we can say that before Laura met her friends in the city centre, she had cleaned her flat. By using the past perfect, had cleaned, we make it clear that Laura first cleaned her flat, then she met her friends in the city. We can also make the sentence, Laura had met her friends in the city before she went shopping in the supermarket. In this sentence, we use the past perfect had met to make it clear that first Laura met her friends and then she went shopping. Now, let's examine the difference between the past simple tense and the past perfect tense in English. We use the past simple tense in English to describe finished events in the past. For example, we can say, I went to university. I ate my breakfast at 8 a.m. He left work at 5 p.m. yesterday. We also use the past simple tense to describe a sequence of events in the past. When we describe a sequence of events in the past, we can use words like first, then, next, after that, later, finally, and in the end. For example, to describe a sequence of events in the past, we could say that first John woke up. Then he took a shower. Next he went downstairs. After that, he ate breakfast. In the end, he left home and went to work. When we use the past perfect tense, we are not describing a sequence of events in the past. We do not use the words first, then, next, after that, later, or in the end. When we make sentences using the past perfect tense, we use words like before and already. We use the past perfect to speak about time before and up to a point in the past. For example, Jane had slept for 8 hours at 7 o'clock this morning. In this sentence, we use the past perfect to indicate that before 7 o'clock this morning, Jane slept for 8 hours. We use the past perfect tense to say what happened before a certain time in the past. Here is a second example. Anne had studied at university before she got her first job. In this sentence, we use the past perfect to emphasize that first Anne had studied at, and she had finished, university, and then she got her first job. In this video, we have learned that to make the past perfect tense in English, we must use the past simple of the verb to have, plus the past participle of the verb. We have learned that we use the past perfect tense when we are thinking about time before and up to a point in the past. We also use the past perfect to say what happened before a certain point of time in the past. This video was brought to you by the Central School of English, an English school in Dublin. For more lessons, visit centralschool.ie.